Well, hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I don't know if you've noticed, but I noticed that lately, working with my coaching students, that focus keeps coming up, the topic of focus. And normally, when something keeps coming up with the people that I'm working with, I realize that it's something that I, too, need to take a look at in my life and in my business and in different areas and aspects and figure out if it's an area that I am struggling with or having challenges with. And lo and behold, I realize that I have been relatively unfocused for the better part of 2021. Doing things, learning things, growing, working with people as usual, but in a more scattered way than I like. So I started and I decided today for our Supersize Your Business Idiom and Challenge, it's not a challenge, it's just a daily thing. I would look up and find idioms about focus. Well, of course, there is no shortage of sayings and idioms about focus. And we've talked about a lot of them in the past, jack of all trades, master of none. I like your objections is simply a smoke screen. You can't really say that to people, or it's not really wise if you want to open the gates of communication. But that's a good one, because if we ask ourselves and look at our lives and look at our businesses, a lot of times we're not focusing because we're creating objections. We're looking at and paying attention to the wrong things, which is all about focus. Zoom in, zoom out, become very popular during COVID-19. Brain cramp, I've never heard that one, but I really like that one. It just means that you're not focusing, or you're focusing so hard that your head hurts. Kind of like a brain freeze from ice cream or something cold, but it's a cramp in your brain because you're focusing either too hard or you're scattered and you're not focusing on enough things. So there's like 50 or so. There's probably more than that. Things that have something to do with focus. Knuckle down, buckle down, bat away, home in on, space out, which is kind of the opposite of focusing in on something. But when you're focused on something and concentrating, to other people it might look like you're spacing out because you're focused and concentrated on something that isn't them. Bald is bold. I thought that one was kind of a stretch for focus, but I guess if you don't have to deal with your hair every day, you have more time and energy to focus on the things that matter. Pay attention. Penny wise, pound foolish. Put your nose to the grindstone. Keep your eye on the ball. That's one of my favorites. Keep your eye on the ball. And I guess as my vision impacts me personally, and I used to do more things with the magnifying glass, I am actually focusing in on and honing in on things more physically. And so maybe that's why I'm allowing myself to be a little more unfocused otherwise. Well, what are some ways? We're going to talk about at least 10 ways that you can increase and be more focused, as well as I'd love for you to share in the comments below, what is your favorite strategy or favorite way to focus and concentrate on something that's really important to you? Most of the business owners I deal with, and I was definitely guilty of this in the past, and obviously it's snuck back into my life, are struggling because they're trying to do too many things. They've got too many irons in the fire, too many balls in the air. They're trying to do too many things, or they're trying to serve too many people, or they're trying to be in too many markets, and they don't have the systems and the processes in place to handle that. You can serve a lot more markets and a lot more people once you figure it out for one group of people and one market, one product, one service. Then you just duplicate your success by going to different markets. I think we learned this from Hollywood and movies and from theater. They take a show on the road. Once they do a show on Broadway or off Broadway and it's super successful, they don't just stay in New York. They take that show on the road. They travel around with it. At least I think they still do that. And they I think of things like Disney on Ice. Boy, that's dating me, right? Disney on Ice and things like that, where they would hone a show, get it perfect, and then they would take that show to other audiences. They would go where the audiences are. We need to do the same thing in our business. We need to be focused enough to figure out and put systems and processes and procedures in place that work for us, so that we can grow and supersize our business, and then we can add other products, other services, other customers, other markets. So what are 10 ways that we can focus? This is just my quick list of ways that we can focus. And I think if you were to do a little research online or read some books on focus or look for some articles on focus, you could pretty easily find some tips and tricks and strategies to help you become more focused. I learned this one from my friend Avril Beckford. She says, prepare your brain, prepare your mind to read. I think we have to prepare ourselves, our mind and our thinking, to do anything that we want to do, especially when we have a task that requires our attention and our focus and our concentration. We need to make sure that we are getting rid of distractions. I know, easier said than done during COVID, right? There's some distractions that we really can't get rid of. You know, if you're home working or had been home working with your kids, or if your business is shut down or whatever, and your significant other and everybody's home together, there's some distractions it's very hard to eliminate, but we can't really get rid of them. So how can we find ways to minimize those distractions? Maybe we find and set up a separate place for us. Maybe we find and have a quiet time, a quiet zone where we have like our own in-home office hours. Hey guys, these are my office hours. You need to give me some peace and know that I'm going to be tied up these times. Share your schedule, plan ahead so that people know you need blocks of time for yourself to focus and get the work that you need to get done. Coffee in small doses is highly recommended. I totally recommend coffee. My kids are big energy drink consumers, which I don't necessarily, I don't care about. I mean, it's their health. Everybody has to do what's right for them. But I find that they don't work for me at all. I tend to have a lot of energy, so energy drinks, put me right over the top. Number 3, practice something called the Pomodoro technique, or some kind of time blocking technique. I am not a big practicer of Pomodoro specifically, but I do set a timer, which I don't have around me right now, of course, but I'll set a timer. If I have an important task that I have to get done, they recommend, Pomodoro technique recommends that you set a 25-minute timer, then you take a 5-minute break. Then you block off and you do that for a series of 4, and then you take a slightly bigger break. So you would take 25 minutes work, focus, 5 minutes off. 25 minutes work, focus, 5 minutes off. 25 minutes work, focus, 5 minutes off. 25 minutes work, focus, 20 or 30 minutes off to do something else, or to maybe check social media or something, or answer phone messages, or feed the kids, whatever it is that you need to do. Another strategy, shut down social media. Turn off all the notifications and alarms on your phone. One of the smartest things I ever did was turn off all of my social media notifications, because we are trained, just like Pavlov's dog, all of us, to respond to buzzers and signs and noises that are out of the ordinary. Our announcements and notifications are set up by bigger companies and bigger organizations to break into and get our attention and stop our flow of work. Remember to fuel your body. You got to eat. I don't know about you, but I get hangry when I don't eat. So even though it's easy to not eat when we're focused, if we're doing some kind of time blocking, make sure that we're building in time to recharge our body, recharge our mind. Get enough sleep. I know it goes without saying, everything that we think about, in order for us to focus and concentrate and be of strong mind, we have to be of strong body. That includes taking care of our body, getting enough movement, getting enough fuel in our body, the right kinds of fuel, as well as getting enough sleep. Set goals, and SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely, or SMART goals. I say unachievable or unrealistic goals, because I think that we should always be shooting for the moon, especially in our businesses as we're growing our businesses. Number 8, be mindful. Think about and be present, and think about what things might be bother you, and address those. Figure out a way to let them go, or do something with them so that you can free up your mind to focus on the task at hand. Number 9, make a list. Make a list of the things that what I like to do is I have a journal, and I have a list of, whenever an idea comes up, I put it in the journal, and that way I can focus on the things I need to focus on, and I'm not distracted by a thought that pops into my head. I have Post-it notes and Post-it tablets everywhere, and when I have an idea or when something pops in my mind, I write it down immediately, and then I can go back and stay on task and do exactly what I'm doing, focus on what I'm doing. But I have that idea for later so I don't lose it. Number 10, avoid multitasking. Now, I pretty much love this one because we're supposed to focus on singular tasks at hand. But I personally have a saying that if women couldn't multitask, the species would cease to exist. We wouldn't have human beings anymore, because women have to be able to multitask. Men, not so much. And this is, of course, a very blanket statement that I'm making, but avoid multitasking when you're trying to focus on something. If I'm focusing on a consulting call or a coaching call or a training or something, I am doing that. I've got my notebook, I'm doing that, I'm taking notes. I'm not being distracted by a million other things. 99.99% of the time. I'm focusing in on that task. So I'm not multitasking. Sometimes we have to multitask. And usually it's got something to do with that little box that's our cell phone that's interrupting us. And we need to make sure that we're avoiding that whenever we possibly can. So those are some of the things that I do. You can also do things like you can cool down the room to keep your attention up, to keep yourself awake. You can play music that motivates you and keeps you on task. You can, again, remember to block your time, but take breaks from it. Whenever you're doing, especially a big project, when I have a big project or a big thing that I'm working on, say you're writing a book. If you try to sit down and write that book all in one sitting, what's the probability you're going to get it done? What is the probability that you're going to be able to focus? And I guarantee there's some people out there that can do this. They can sit down, they can knock out a whole book in one sitting and be done. But that is definitely the exception, not the rule. We're going to go for what will work for most of us. So do the things that work for you. I would love if you would share in the comments below today, what is your favorite focus saying or focus idiom, if you've got one, or what is your favorite strategy, favorite way for getting focused, getting and just honing in on and focusing. I actually listened to a focus meditation today because I definitely want to be able to help myself and other people to maintain their focus, to get focused, to get what they need to get done when they needed to get it done, because that is one of the key ways in supersizing and growing our businesses. Go out, make it an awesome day. Any questions about focus, any comments, ask me in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow and we'll talk about another interesting idiom. What does it mean? Probably back to where does it come from instead of a whole bunch of them, and how you might use it in your business and your life even today or tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.